Okay, guys, how we doing today? So this final news is the last news today that's going to concern more than a single country. Hold on. Yeah, I maybe obsess over my hair a little too much. It can be crazy sometimes. Anyway, as we proceed. So this is from Reuters. It says 9 Americans killed in Mexican ambush. Trump urges joint war on drug cartels. Gunmen killed 9 women and children in the bloodiest attack on Americans in Mexico for years, prompting U.S. President Donald Trump to offer to help the neighboring country wipe out drug cartels believed to be behind the ambush. Well, yeah, now that it actually is affecting the citizens of this country and affecting us, now we have a stake in it. You're damn right we should be asking to help out. It's our problem now, too. They're killing our citizens. But all 9 people killed in Monday's daytime attack at the border of, Chihuahua. There's a Mexican state called Chihuahua. Anyway, 9 people killed in Monday's daytime attack at the border of Chihuahua and Sonora belong to the Mexican-American LeBaron family, members of a breakaway Mormon community that settled in northern Mexico hills and plains decades ago. A video posted on social media showed the charred and smoking remains of a vehicle riddled with bullet holes that was apparently carrying the victims on a dirt road when the attack occurred. This is for the record, it says a male voice speaking English in an American accent, off camera choking with emotion. Nita and 4 of my grandchildren are burnt and shot up, the man says, apparently referring to Ronita Barron, one of the 3 women who died in the attack. Reuters could not independently verify the video. A relative, Julian LeBaron, called the incident a massacre, and some family members were burned alive. In a text message to Reuters, he wrote that 4 boys, 2 girls, and 3 women were killed. Several children who fled the attack were lost for hours in the countryside before being found, he said. He said it was unclear who carried out the attack. We don't know why, though. They had received indirect threats. We don't know who did it, he told Reuters. Mexican Security Minister Alfonso Durazo said the 9 traveling in several SUVs may have been victims of mistaken identity, given the high number of violent confrontations among warring drug gangs in the area. But the LeBaron extended family has often been in conflict with drug traffickers in Chihuahua, and a relative of the victim said the killer surely knew who they were targeting. We've been here for more than 50 years. There's no one who doesn't know them. Whoever did this was aware. That's the most terrifying, said Alex LeBaron, a relative in one of the villages inhabited by the extended family. Look, even if it was a case of mistaken identity, that doesn't matter. They killed U.S. citizens. You're just going to try and let that go? If you're going to let something like that go, then I'm sorry, but you suck. You were a piece of shit. And I mean that. I sincerely mean that. If you're going to want to let something like that go, like it's no big deal, yeah, you suck. I mean, come on. People have gone to war for less. I'm not warmongering here. I'm not warmongering here, alright? I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a non-interventionist. I don't think we should even go to war half the time. The only time we should ever go to war is if citizens of this country or the country itself have been directly threatened. And what do you call this? I call it a pretty direct threat. All of the dead were U.S. citizens. He told Reuters, and most also held dual citizenship with Mexico. They were tracked while driving on back roads in a convoy of cars containing the women along with 14 children, he said. Some were headed for Tucson Airport to collect relatives. In 2010, 2 members of the Chihuahua Mormon community, including one from the LeBron family, were killed in apparent revenge after security forces tracked drug gang members. The Mormons had suffered widespread kidnappings before that. Time to wage war, Trump, says the article. Under Trump, the United States and Mexico have often been at odds over trade, the U.S. President's anti-immigration rhetoric, and his plans to build a wall on their common border. Trump has praised Andrés Manuel López Obrador, his Mexican counterpart, who took office 11 months ago for helping reduce flows of Central American migrants to the United States. However, he has increasingly expressed concerns about a recent spate of cartel violence. He praised López Obrador for focusing on combating the gangs, but said more needed to be done. This is the time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wage war on the drug cartels and wipe them off the face of the earth, Trump said in a tweet reacting to the massacre. Later, he and Lopez Obrador spoke by phone with the U.S. president, offering help to ensure the perpetrators face justice. The Mexican leader said he would ensure justice was done. Now, I like Obrador. Lopez Obrador. I think he's a cool guy. But as far as politicians go, he doesn't really seem particularly effectual to me. I mean, he's got some shit done, but he doesn't get much done. For all his talk of change, Mexico is still very much the same sort of place it's always been. And I suppose I'm being a little unfair. He's only been in office for 11 months. So I'm probably a little off base here. But I just don't think he's a particularly effective administrator. He does not fill me with confidence. But look, if we can go to war in the Middle East for oil, but not go to war for having citizens shot at and murdered? No. Just no. Then never go to war at all, ever. This or nothing. Prior to the call, Lopez Obrador rejected what he called any foreign government intervention. Okay. He said no. Mexico has used its military in a war on drug cartels since 2006. Despite the arrest or killing of leading traffickers, the campaign has not succeeded in reducing drug violence, and it led to more killings as criminal groups fight among themselves. The government has registered more than 250,000 homicides in the last dozen years, most of them related to the drug war. Lopez Obrador has blasted the security strategy of previous Mexican governments, saying more than a decade of war against drug traffickers is officially over, and he will seek alternative solutions. War is irrational. We believe in peace, said Lopez Obrador, a leftist who took office last December. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and the FBI already work closely with Mexico to combat the cartels. Falco Ernst, senior analyst for the International Crisis Group in Mexico. Falco Ernst. That is so great. Great name. Said Trump's tweet suggests he may be gearing up to pressure Mexico over security, especially with his campaign underway for re-election November 2020. If he throws in his whole leverage, as we've seen with migration, then there is very little the Mexican government can do to hold its ground, Ernst said. Northwestern Mexico has home to small Mormon and Mormon-linked communities with family ties to the United States since the late 19th century. The early Mormon settlers in Mexico fled the threat of arrest in the United States for practicing polygamy. The practice is observed by a shrinking number of Mormons in Mexico. Eric Hawkins, spokesman for the Utah-based Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, said it understood the victims were not members of the institution, that the church was heartbroken over the attack. Our love, prayers, and sympathies are with them as they mourn and remember their loved ones, Hawkins said in a statement. Look, you know what? Here's what I think we should do. If Mexico won't capitulate, here's the best thing we had to do. Any American citizens that are outside of the southern border, regardless of what's going to happen to them, need to come back, or they're going to get killed. They need to come back for their own safety, withdraw every citizen, and get that damn wall built. The full frickin' thing. The wall will stop human trafficking. The wall will help stop illegal immigration, so only legal immigration is permitted. You cannot enter this country without the permission of the government or its people. Period. And when you do, you ruin it for everyone else. You make it harder for people wanting to immigrate legally. You're being selfish as hell. So think about that. But bottom line is, get the wall built, withdraw our citizens, and just stay the fuck out of Mexico. It's a death sentence. It's a death trap. If you're an American citizen, especially if you happen to be Blanco Nino, then just stay the hell out of Mexico. It's not worth visiting. Just stay out of it. Your life literally depends on it, apparently. I swear the shit gets crazier every time I hear about it. Anyway, peace.